Welcome to the Movie Update. I'm Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic.
Here's an excerpt from my interview with Michael Rappaport and Phife Dawg about the documentary Beats, Rhymes, and Life, The Travels of a Tribe Called Quest. Talk about how important this was for you and how you approached this film.
I mean, for me, doing this film was as important as telling the story of the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, the Ramones. If you grew up first generation in hip-hop, like I did, you know, growing up in New York and being just a fan, A Tribe Called Quest means the same thing to me that if you grew up, you know, in the 60s and the 70s, that the Beatles and all those aforementioned groups mean that, like my mother talks about, I went to Shea Stadium when the Beatles first came to New York. Well, I was at Latin Quarters and watched DJ Red Alert and Sparky D in 1985, and those are the memories that I have. And I was in, you know, Union Square when Big Daddy Kane was just a backup guy for Biz Markie, and I'll never forget that. Man. So, you know, and then, you know, A Tribe Called Quest, you know, soon, you know, became my favorite group, and, you know, I've been a fan of the group, and you know, I've been sort of fascinated by them and what they accomplished, and you know, I always wanted to, in the last 5 or 6 years, I was really wanting to tell their story.
Phife, I want to ask you, you know, a lot of people think that the anticipation of this film is really about the stuff that's been happening with the tribe members.
I mean, you know, you can't have beats, rhymes without the life. There's the beats, there's the rhymes, obviously. And then, you know, Q-Tip and our dynamic hasn't always been the greatest, but at the end of the day, that's my man, right. 50 grand. I mean, we could argue tomorrow, once we get on, or right before a show, once we get on that stage, we'll never know it because the chemistry is so right and tight. You know what I mean? And then there's other times where, I mean, we don't always see eye to eye, but we're the consummate professionals, and at the end of the day, without hip-hop, without A Tribe Called Quest, that'll be my boy.
One of the things you say in here, I introduced him to the craft, he introduced me to the paper. Talk about that.
Basically, that's just simply me saying I was the first one rapping in the neighborhood. He and I have been friends since we were like 2 years old. His mom and my grandmother went to the same church, and plus we lived around the corner from each other, so Little League Baseball, Pop Warner football, basketball, and you know, it was always a thing where he would be like, yo, you should join this baseball team. I'd be like, you should join this basketball team. Yo, let's go try out for this football team. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, I started MCing first or whatever. And I was like, yo, Tip, you need to rap. I'm going to rap. You know what I'm saying? Yo, bet. Next thing you know, he was in the right place at the right time. He and Ali went to Murray Bergstrom High School. Mind you, for business careers, but it seemed like everybody that went to that school was all about music. So it was almost like LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts, where Slick Rick, Dana Dane, and Nicki Minaj went. Khalees as well. That their school was pretty much that school, Fame almost, with Irene Cara in it. You know what I'm saying? So I used to go up there from time to time, and you know, once you go up there and you see what it is, you catch the fever. You know what I mean?
Send me an email at therealcritic@reginaldponder.com, and I'll see you at the theater.